Hi there, it's Denise Eckert, and I love coming on here and sharing different techniques and ideas to help you lower the stress in your life because living in stress is very unhealthy. And today I've got Andrea Hunt, and she's an EFT empowerment coach who helps people overcome their fears, their anxieties, and self doubt to step outside their comfort zones and become the best versions of themselves. Through transformational coaching and EFT tapping, Andrea guides clients to release emotional blocks, reduce stress, and improve overall emotional health. She's a US expat. She's lived in 6 countries: China, Germany, Argentina, Mexico, and the UK, and Italy, giving her a unique global perspective on personal growth and resilience. She's also a published author and passionate about sharing her insights. Welcome, Andrea.
Thank you so much for having me, Denise. It's wonderful to be here.
Now, what inspired you to do this type of work, to mesh together coaching and EFT?
First of all, I found EFT by accident about 12 years ago during my master's program. And I am a high energy person. And if that energy is not channeled in a good way, it can very quickly spiral out of control. So it was finals week. I was an older student. I had forgotten how to study, to be honest. I was completely panicked. Couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't calm down. Nothing I did worked. And I Googled how, like fear and panic or something like that. And Brad Yates's video called Fear and Panic Right Now popped up. And I was like, you know, what the heck? I can't lose anything at this point. And so I did it along with him. And I think it's an 8-minute video. And I was like, God, I feel a little bit better. So I did it like several more times. And within like 30 minutes, I was calm and grounded. And I'm like, oh my God, like, what is this? It doesn't make any sense to me because, to be honest, if you've never seen it before, it looks a little bit funny. And I was like, I just don't understand how this could possibly be effective. And then, of course, the more I learned about it, and Gary Craig and Roger Callahan, like in terms of the acupuncture points and calming the nervous system, the more I was just really intrigued. So I started using it on myself for pretty much anything. It got me through a breakup, through job loss, through difficult conversations with my parents, whatever. And fast forward to 2020, and during the pandemic, I lost my job. Unfortunately, like a lot of people did. It's not a unique story necessarily, but I came out of that. At first, it was a gut punch because I was like, what a horrible time to get laid off. Like, how can, and then I really started thinking about it. And what was missing in terms of my career was something with a bit more purpose and authenticity. That's what I was really missing. And I had done so much personal growth work that I had been toying with the idea of being a coach, but it was the pandemic. It was not time for me to make some big change. At least that's not how I felt at the time. And so this was something that just opened a door for me and it pushed me in a direction where I was like, you know what? Okay, it's lockdown. It was the second lockdown in Germany during the wintertime. Couldn't leave anyway, the house. And so I was like, I'm going to get my coaching certification. I had the whole winter at home to do it, and all my sessions could be online because I found a great program called Animus from the UK. And because I'm a native English speaker, it was fantastic that I could find one in England. And yeah, so I integrated, I got my certification in EFT as well because it would come up over and over during the transformational coaching sessions, emotional blocks, people thinking they're not good enough, and all this stuff. And I was like, oh man, I know that tapping would help this. You know why? Because I've done it for myself. All of these things that I was able to overcome through it. So I integrated these things. I've got certified in both of them. And so that's how I created this new thing for myself and my clients for EFT empowerment coaching.
Okay, so what's the secret, Angie? How does EFT help us lower our stress and create a better life for ourselves?
I think, first of all, in order to be able to step outside of our comfort zone without self-sabotage, because that's the critical component there, as long as we're in our safe bubble and we're like everything's familiar, everything else is safe, a lot of times we can feel pretty confident about things. But the second that you try to get out of your comfort zone and do something really big, very scary, that's when your brain goes into this fight, flight, or freeze response. So I think that it's important to have two aspects here. The first is the emotional health, because we can't show up confidently and with emotional resilience if we're frazzled, stressed, burned out. It just doesn't work. You can fake it for a while, but then at the end, it's not going to work. And the second component to the confidence is also healing some of the belief wounds that we might have acquired over the years. Like what is some people would also call like limiting beliefs, things we were either told, things that we experienced, and a lot of things that make us doubt our self-worth and also our capabilities, things that can lead to imposter syndrome or things like perfectionism where it's never good enough. We always move the goalposts on ourselves. And what I find tapping is so powerful for is whereas a lot of times I've gone to coaches where they're like, okay, say some affirmations and we're going to put this on the calendar. You're just going to do it. But it's really not that simple because if it's something that is terrifying to you, and I say terrifying, but it might be something simple, go do a Facebook Live. And it sounds cute when you put it on the calendar, but then you go do it and people will be like, and they freeze up. They suddenly are like, oh my God, everybody from high school is going to see it. And oh my God, what if my colleague sees it and thinks I'm ridiculous? And who do I think I am? All of this scary self-talk comes up, and we'll find some way to sabotage ourselves. We'll go be busy doing something else, productive procrastination. We'll pick a fight with somebody and, oh, I was just too upset about that. Or we'll have a technical issue and just give up. And so there's all these ways that we self-sabotage, and tapping is able to help with, sorry, I was talking about the affirmations, but the affirmations on their own are not for many people as quick and easy as just simply repeating them. And what I find with the tapping is you go over at the beginning to from I'm not good enough, who do I think I am? Everyone's going to laugh at me, everyone's going to judge me, to moving into a reframe where you're like, okay, what do I care? They laugh. Who's this person to judge me? Like, well, if they're going to make fun of me, they probably have their own problems, obviously, that they're, that they should be worried about. And sometimes there's that quote, you have to be afraid to suck at something the first time. You're not going to be good. You have to be okay to get yourself out of the box and learn and progress.
Now, for someone that is listening, how can they get started with EFT tapping?
So I usually recommend that if you've never done it before, you're really total beginner. YouTube has a lot of very helpful videos. Like I have some on my channel. My favorite is Brad Yates. I think he's just fantastic. There's some other people, but he's the one I started with, so I'm going to be loyal to Brad forever.
Hmm.
But if you want to really get started on making your own scripts and dialogues, which for me, that was the most helpful. That was when it really started making sense to me because it's your words, your feelings. That's going to be the simple secrets, the recipes use. So you'd start like what they consider the karate chop point, like where you would chop a piece of wood if you were doing it. And so for those who can't see me, you're just going to take your fingers of your other hand and you're going to tap along just very lightly on the side of the karate chop point. And then the other points, we're going to start around the face, and that's in between the eyebrows. In between, you're going to lightly tap with two fingers, not too difficult, not too hard or anything like that, just lightly tapping. And then the side of the eye, where there's like a little indentation by your eyebrow. It's where, like, a lot of times, if you have a headache, you automatically start rubbing this point. It's an acupuncture point, you know. And then under the eye, under the nose with the two fingers and the little indentation that you have there, under the chin, and then on the chest. Sometimes I like to use two hands. I don't know. For me, it just feels nice and calming. That's also a good one, like if you're on the bus or something and you're stressed out, and you just breathe through your nose and out through your mouth and touch that point. It's very calming. And there's under the arm, and then the top of the head is the last one. So while there's like all these variations to the kind of techniques and sequences that you can do for EFT, which like a coach or a practitioner would know which one is appropriate for that setting. A simple one that you can just do at home. Let's say like the situation is that you're stressed. Okay. So you would start tapping on the karate chop point. You just check in with yourself, first of all, like from 0 to 10, how stressed am I? 0 is I'm fine, and 10 would be like I am super through the roof, like freaking out.
Hey, I'm a 7. It's been a hard day.
Here's 7. Okay. So you'd want to do that and check in through yourself. And then I always think it's important to remember to stop and breathe, because breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth is going to calm your nervous system as you do it. Like you hear from people who suffer panic attacks and stuff like that. That's one of the first things that they try to tell you, to learn how to breathe, because it will calm you. Okay, so we're going to start with the setup sentence. And we're going to say,
even though
I'm feeling stressed.
I'm feeling stressed.
I
I deeply and completely
love and accept myself.
love and accept myself, even though
I'm feeling really super stressed right now.
I'm feeling super stressed right now.
I
I deeply and completely
love and forgive myself.
love and forgive myself.
So after you've gone through those two sentences, you're going to start tapping through the points and you're really just going to be
Okay, so I don't know where we left off. You were starting to do the
okay. Okay, so now that we've said the setup phrases, now we're going to go and we're going to tap through the points. And this is where we call it like a negative round. It's important that you get really honest with yourself and you say how you feel. Because a lot of times we walk around saying like, "Oh, I'm fine. No, I can handle this, whatever." And inside, that's our nervous system is like, "You liar. You are not." So we're going to go through some of those points, and you can say things, you can swear, you can be petty, you can say whatever you want, so that you can get it out. I won't be that drastic here though, but we're going to go through the points. So between the eyebrows, so like, I am super stressed.
I am super stressed.
Side of the eye, I am super stressed.
I am super stressed.
Below the eye, so stressed.
I'm so stressed.
Below the nose, freaking out.
I'm freaking out.
Below the chin, I hate feeling like this.
I hate feeling like this.
On the chest, feel really stressed.
I feel really stressed.
Doesn't feel good at all.
I don't feel good at all.
Underneath the arm, so stressed.
I'm so stressed.
Top of the head, so stressed.
I am so stressed.
So then that's a simple negative round. You would just go through there and you would keep checking in with yourself to see 0 to 10. Did the number change at all? Did it go up? Did it go down? And you want to make sure that you've gotten it down into maybe a 3 before you even go into the positive round. And once you've done that to clear the negative, then you can go into some positive affirmations. So you could be like, I am calm.
I am calm.
I am grounded.
I am grounded.
Choosing to be calm.
I'm choosing to be calm.
Under the nose, I'm choosing to be grounded.
I'm choosing to be grounded.
Underneath the chin, so calm.
So calm.
Breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. When we go to the chest, releasing the anxiety.
Releasing the anxiety. Releasing the fear. Releasing the stress.
Breathing easily.
Breathing easily.
Breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. Do it again. And sometimes I'll do that 10 times, honestly. Sometimes I just really need to ground myself. And there's something about just doing it on the collarbone and breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That I love, that calms me down really quickly. And it's okay in a public setting. Sometimes we don't want to do a full round with all of the tapping points in a public setting, but so that's basically the simple recipe. But I think for beginners, a lot of times people really enjoy doing it to a video that they can see, watch the other person and follow along. And once you've done it with the videos enough, then it's a lot easier to do it from, the scripts by yourself.
Now, for what, I guess not really ailments, but what issues does EFT work for that you've seen working in your coaching business?
So I know that I don't personally work with people who have like chronic pain and stuff like that. I know that it is useful for that. The people that usually come to me are stress professionals who have overwhelm, self-doubt, and different emotional blocks that have to do with their confidence. So a lot of times, like a very typical story would be somebody was like in class at 8 years old. Let's say they got up in front of the classroom, they had their picture, they were going to show everybody. Teacher makes fun of it. The kids all laugh at them. They feel humiliated, very ashamed. And then they learn in that moment it's not safe to be seen, not safe to be heard, not safe to put the spotlight on myself because look what happens. And then maybe 20, 30 years later, maybe they're at a corporate job, they have to do a client presentation, and they're like suddenly panicked about going to speak in front of a group of people. And those are the kind of situations that a lot of, especially like entrepreneurs and like new business owners realize that, oh my God, I never knew that I had so much fear of criticism until I tried to do like a YouTube channel. And then suddenly, the example I gave before, oh my God, people from high school, they're going to see it, or my kids are going to think it's stupid. Or and we suddenly have all of those what ifs, in our head of, okay, what if that no one takes me seriously? What if, nobody wants to pay for my services? All these different things. And sorry, am I answering your question there? Like, how is EFT applicable to those things? Oh, yeah. I've had other people, for example, especially with the self-sabotage topic, a lot of people that really want to do things and they get very frustrated with themselves because they can't figure out why they might be blocking themselves. And often when we block ourselves, we self-sabotage. It's usually a fear or resistance. And once we can figure out what those things are, then we can use EFT to clear them. And for some people, it might be one session. For some people, it might be 6 sessions because it depends. Sometimes it's tangled Christmas lights. You pull out one and and then my mom said this when I was 5, and then my ex-boyfriend did this. And it's attached to a similar issue or belief wound that we have that maybe we're not worthy, we're not good enough, something like that. But I've really seen it I've seen it work for so many different things. I think one of the more impressive things that I've seen that I'm constantly wowed by is the ability to heal the inner child through like visualization and going and visualizing the inner child and tapping on the inner child. And it sounds very abstract. I know that I thought it sounded odd when I heard about this, but in terms of self-worth and confidence, that is a very powerful change because if you can shift that, it impacts pretty much every other aspect of somebody's life or their personality.
Yeah, it's very powerful. Yeah. Healing that inner child can be a lifelong challenge, really.
Yeah.
And what I like about EFT too is that you're active. Like you're not
Hmm.
just sitting there, you're tapping, you're talking,
Yeah.
that movement. And I find a lot of times when we do things like meditation, it's so stationary, my mind wanders.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, and
making
there's a
shopping
learning curve.
lists, or I'm thinking, what are we gonna do? Blah, blah, blah. And with tapping, I love it because you're busy and you're
Hmm.
doing it and it's active. And that's what I find so powerful about it.
Absolutely. And plus, I've heard from a lot of people like there's a learning curve to meditation. It's absolutely amazing, but it's not something that everybody can just sit down and do. And I know that with myself, it took so many times of being really frustrated and my mind was, well, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do it? Whereas with tapping, it was something I could immediately start doing and feeling better as I was doing it and noticing it as I was doing it instead of waiting for some magic moment that it was just going to calm me. You know what I mean? It was the active aspect of it for me, the distraction and the focus at the same time was what really caught my attention in terms of, okay, wow, this is something that I definitely need to learn more about.
And the thing is, it to me, it's instant results because once you start going on the positive aspect of the EFT, it just makes you feel better.
Absolutely. But even I think that the most powerful thing is like things that there's always things that we carry around. Sometimes people carry around things for decades, some fear, some regret that a lot of people carry around, oh, I should have handled this situation differently. If I had just done this, and now I've lost my chance forever. And they really carry around this guilt forever, unless they really are willing to look at it and release it. And being able to give that kind of relief to somebody can be absolutely life changing because if you carry around these burdens and regrets of your past mistakes, it makes it very hard for you to believe that you're worthy of good things now.
Yeah. So I understand you have a free EFT tapping book. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's just basically for anybody who's new to EFT that's okay. I'm curious because for a lot of people these days, stress and anxiety is everywhere. There's so many uncertainties in the world. There's a lot of things changing very quickly. People don't know price of groceries or like, their jobs or their relationships or whatever. So it's just good to be able to have this tool. So I just go into a little bit about what is it, and then I put some scientific articles in there so that people can see that there is a scientific basis to it. It's not just It's not well, now that I think they have over like 100 different studies. When you have Dr. Dawson Church and Dr. Peter Stapleton that are at the forefront of really bringing this more to even mainstream therapy and also like clinical settings. And then I also talk about how you can use it for emotional health and then how you can use it for confidence and empowerment. And whether what kind of situations is it good to just do a YouTube video versus what kind of situations in your life would it be better to maybe find a professional like a coach to help you work through some of the things.
Wonderful.
Mhm.
What's your book called?
So I have two different ones. There's a stress and anxiety book, and then the first one is it's like the beginner's guide to like EFT and empowerment.
So we're going to be wrapping this up. So Andrea, what are your final words of wisdom to the audience today?
So, one of the things that I always want to tell people, because we often doubt ourselves, and there are so many challenges that can come up in life. There are so many obstacles that we might face in the world, but don't let the obstacle be your mindset. Make sure that you always keep in mind that if not you, then who, and if not now, then when. Because you have just as good of a chance as anybody as making the world a better place, accomplishing what you want, and as I always say, mastering the art of living deliberately.
I love that. That's awesome. I'm going to be putting Andrea's information wherever you're watching or listening to this. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and ask your questions. So thank you for that amazing information today, Andrea. Yeah, EFT is so powerful. It's just wonderful. And it's so non-evasive.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much, Denise, for allowing me to come on here. It's been fantastic chatting with you.
Well, thank you for coming here and sharing your wonderful information. So now giving you a gentle reminder to slow down and enjoy life, and I'll see you in the next episode.